Welcome to this week's Ask Alexa version of Behind the Fiction. I'm Alexa Varberg.
And I am still Stephen Campbell, and this is still the show where we discuss the books that LMBPN is publishing this week. And one thing that's really cool about the books coming this week are we have recently released interviews with authors where some of the books are coming out in the series this week. So we'll talk specifically about those. But Alexa, what do we have coming up first?
Up first, we have Defense of the Nest, which is book 3 in Dragon Approved series from Rami Vance.
Yeah, that's Rami and Michael Anderle. As you know, if you've started these are shortish books. They're sort of novella length, around 20,000 words each. They're released each Monday. It's a fun series, sort of an episodic kind of thing. And it's dragons. As you may notice, if you're seeing all of the LMBPN covers, there's a dragon on a lot of covers now. So dragons are becoming a real thing. And Rami's series is a part of that, and it's a fun series. So if you haven't started it, the book 1 is The First Human Rider. That's a great place to start. And if you are, just know that they're coming each Monday. Next up, we have The Elementals Magic. Alexa, what can you tell us about that?
This book is book 3 in the Maggie Parker series from Martha Carr and Michael Anderle. And we recently had Martha on Behind the Fiction for an interview about this exact series. So you should go back and watch that if you haven't already. And you should check out Martha's shirt that she's wearing in that interview because it is hilarious.
It is awesome, and it is so Martha. She actually told me about the shirt before we did the interview, and it's like, okay, we've got to put a picture of the shirt in there because it is just totally her. And so the Elementals Magic and the next book that Alexa's going to talk about, the Anthem of the Dwarf King, are both part of the Terra Novus universe, the new Terra Novus universe. The third series in that universe is The Witches of Pressler Street. The next book in that series will be coming next week, I believe. So Martha has talked about talked about the universe, the creation of the universe. And if you remember the Charlie Case interview, Charlie was talking about being at Martha's table in Austin and kind of coming up with the characters for the Finnegan Dragonbender series. And he did a great job of telling that story. So I asked Martha what her version was. And that's kind of a fun benefit of watching the Martha interview. I think, was that in the one that we've already released, Alexa?
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, there were 2. We actually recorded 2. One was for The Witches of Pressler Street, and we'll release that one as we get closer to the release of The Witches of Pressler Street. But since I've already mentioned the Finnegan Dragonbender series, can you tell us a little bit about book 3 that's coming this week?
Yeah, book 3 is called Anthem of the Dwarf King. And like you just said, it's book 3 in the Finnegan Dragonbender series by Charlie Case. Readers are loving these stories with Finn and Penny, which began with the return of the Dwarf King, which is book 1.
And one other thing that we learned in these interviews with Martha is that in her mind, the character of Finnegan was based on Charlie, who is a big man. If you ever get the chance to meet Charlie, he's big. He's you don't really get a sense of it in watching the interview, but he's tall and he's wide, just like Finnegan. Although, as Martha will say, you know, Charlie's far more handsome than Finnegan on the cover of these books.
He also has a big beard. Charlie has a big beard.
That he does. So, Alexa, what is our next book?
Up next, we have Silent Death.
All right, Silent Death is the second book in the new Cryptid Assassin series. We talked a little bit about the Cryptid Assassin series last week. We're actually recording this episode on Thursday, which is launch day for book 1 of Cryptid Assassin. So that's going through the Amazon process now. But this is a fun, exciting, like men's adventurous type series set in Las Vegas, which is where Michael Anderle lives, where this group of guys are just going out and dealing with things that are coming out of the zoo. And so we have really high hopes for this series. I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to reading it myself. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're going to like this. You're going to like it. So go back and if you haven't read the first book in the series, go check that out. But the series is Cryptid, Cryptid Assassin. So you're going to like that. Alexa, what's next?
Up next, we have book 3 in the Opus X series from Michael Anderle called Investigating Deceit.
Okay, this, as you know, lots of you have already pre-ordered this book because we set the pre-orders up way in advance, and so a lot of you have pre-ordered, and so that will be dropping into your Kindle on Friday at midnight your time. That's the way the pre-orders work. So like 12:01 a.m. wherever you are in the world, it will drop to you, and that's one of the benefits of pre-ordering. So in this one, the story continues. Gia and Eric are out solving crimes in Neo SoCal, trying to clean up the mess and make Neo SoCal the way that Gia always thought it was, but it's not. And Eric continues to find clues that are going to get him closer and closer to finding the people that killed his team and, were the reason for him coming back to Earth and becoming a detective. This is a really fun series. And we have more about investigating deceit when we talk about audiobooks. We've got 2 audiobooks this week. Alexa, what's the first one?
Up first is Investigating Deceit because we release both the audiobook and the ebook at the same time for the Opus X series, which is super, super cool and rare. So you should take advantage of it.
Yes. And if you didn't know this already, and you do like audiobooks, if you buy the ebook, you can generally get the audiobook at a greatly discounted price because of the WhisperSync pricing that Amazon offers. So generally, I don't know that it's set up this way because you can't actually tell until the books go live. But for me, in each case, when I bought the first and second book, I bought the audiobook as well for $7.49. So you get the book and the audiobook basically for $12, and it's a fantastic deal. Alexa, what's next?
Up next, we have Revenant, which is book 5 in the Animus series.
So yeah, hopefully you guys have been or listening to this. Scott Aiello, easy for me to say, is an amazing narrator. He's done a great job with this. And this audiobook this series is selling like crazy. These audiobooks have been produced by our partner Podium. And this is like right in their sweet spot. And they've done an amazing job with this. Listeners are loving it. So book 5 is coming soon. And, they're going to keep creating the new books as we write them. We are on, I think we're on book 10 or 11 now in the Animus series. And so they're on 5. So they're obviously behind us because it takes a lot longer to produce an audiobook. And they were behind from the start, but they're catching up and, enjoy these while they're coming out because Scott really does a fantastic job with them. Alexa, what's next?
Up next is next week that you listen to us again and watch our pretty faces.
I love that. I love the way you actually look down to see, is there something else there that I didn't see?
Have to check. Don't want to see something.
All right. Thank you.
Go with LMBPN. Y'all are crazy.
We all are crazy. Yes. Sure. Yes, it is crazy. Thank you guys so much for listening. As Alexa said, we will be back in your ear next week. And if you ever have any questions and you've got an Alexa device in your house somewhere, just ask Alexa.
Ask Alexa. Or comment on our YouTube channel. I'll answer you.
Excellent. Yes, perfect. Bye all.
Bye.